segmentation. Where does one even begin? So again, we're going to imagine that we're a much smaller company right now. How would you advise someone on where you even start thinking about segmentation if you've got some sort of jumbled up data that you want to start sorting out in some way?
Yeah. So I think it starts with the data. You need to be able to understand individual customers and their buying, their buying habits, their buying behavior. Because what that will do, that'll let you group different, maybe it's, you buy a Honda versus an Acura, right? Like, what are you buying? Premium products? Are you coming in every day? Are you coming in once a year? Like, what is your buying behavior, your buying patterns? Like, what does that look like in the data? And so you want to split those out into manageable groups. You don't want like 40 of them. Right? Like that's not like, can you imagine creating a price list? I know you're selling
40 different price lists.
Yeah. Right. Like, I don't know, say you're selling t-shirts, right? Like you're not selling 40 different price units to those.
No.
But I think it starts with taking the data and then looking at what are the common denominators. Are they, is it their, how they buy? Is it their, how much they spend? Is it where they're located? Because sometimes it's geographical. Is it, what are their unique characteristics that would make them a group that you can just sell collectively to?
That's good. So then once you start seeing some of those commonalities, does it kind of sort itself out? Do you put a label on that? Is that when you start digging deeper? Like what's kind of after that when you're starting to see, okay, so maybe it is geography or, something like that. Where do you kind of go from there?
And so I think it starts like it's like an onion, right? Like it's like, what's our profit margin on them? It's like a different, and so, cause like eventually you're going to get a bunch of like, if we always do it in like it's almost like a 2x2.
Okay.
And so you have what's the revenue? Like, do they make 100, 200, 300 plus, like that kind of idea, right? And then it's like, what's a profit margin? Is it less than 20% or more than 20%? One of the ones we like to use is share of wallet. Like, how much of their business do we have? Especially in like the industrial or the B2B space, right? Whether it's industrial, whatever it is, right? Like, how much of their whatever it is that we're selling are they buying from us?
Yeah, the opportunity that exists.
Yeah, and understanding that, right? Because like if you've got 100% of the opportunity with them, and maybe they're either a mid-sized revenue or they're not as profitable as somebody else, changing price or how you sell to them isn't going to make a difference. It's what can we change? Like, maybe they're in the wrong product. I don't take tires. Like, maybe we're selling them like high performance tires and we're losing a bit of money because they really only need like general tread, right? Like, it's stuff like that. And so like, that's when you start digging into the details on what makes them unique. And then where can we group them together? It's like, if we've got a bunch of customers in, like I said, like a $300 revenue per year sort of range, what, are they above or below that 20% gross margin? Do we have 100% of their wallet, less than, 50%? And starts grouping them into categories so you can get, a manageable, I don't know, let's say it like 12 or less, something like that, like a manageable customer profile. And then you start going through that and looking at what are the similarities? How can we grow them or change them, right? Because that like optimal customer that you've got the most revenue, their 25% margin, and you've got 98% of their wallet, there's no real room for improvement. So don't change anything there, right? Whereas like if you've got they're $100, but you can see that there's room to grow in whatever they are. Your margin's not great and you don't have a good share of wallet. Okay, what can we tackle to change that? How do we better sell, the products that we sell or the service that we sell to address more of what they need?
When you're talking about share of wallet, that's a really cool term. But when you're talking about margin, right? So let's pretend you've been able to identify one of those personas, customers, whatever segments that you're like, okay, we don't have a huge share of their wallet, so there's an opportunity there for sure. We're only making a little bit there. But say that your margin, and I'm assuming this is what you mean in this context, is like, I sell you this product and I'm only making a very small sliver versus some of my other segments where I might own more of their wallet, but I'm even if maybe I'm even making a healthier margin there, but there's no opportunity, so I can't push too much there. what do you start to do with like a margin problem? Like, does that ever dig into, we need to adjust the product or how it's manufactured? Or is it just like, we just need to adjust the pricing and the way that we just present it to the market, and maybe like, okay, this is an economical version and a premium version of a different product. Like how does one start to solve a margin problem when you're kind of looking at it through the segmentation lens?
And I think there's two lenses there, right? Like number one, like do you have an overall margin problem? Like are you losing money?
Yeah.
Right. Fair. Like assuming that's not the case, it's you've got a better margin here and a worse margin there. Part of that might be is are we selling them the wrong product? Like exactly what you said. Are we selling them a premium product and they only need the economy? And we can probably shift our price down a little bit, but increase our margin, right? Because we sold them the product that they actually need. So that's where it really comes down to like understanding, like if you're a landscaping company, like they don't need high performance tires, right? Like they need all terrain or whatever tires, right? So like maybe instead of selling them those high performance tires at, $100 a pop, we sell them this all terrain tire at $80. They're saving money, and our margin goes up because we make more money off of them.
That's fascinating.
So it comes to like, are we selling them the right thing? Because that's the biggest thing often with the margin is we can have, and it sits on both sides of the wallet.
Of course.
Right? Like if you've got 80% share of wallet, and I've seen this before, where it's like this cluster's got, less share of wallet, less profitable, and this cluster is more profitable. And so you want to switch that obviously. But like a lot of times it's just like, what are we selling them? Or are we missing something? Maybe we're not selling enough services to push that margin. If it's, I don't know, it's a brake company or whatever, right? It's like maybe we're selling the brake pads, but we could sell the service. Yeah. That'll help bump the margin.
When you're looking at, okay, so you've got one segment that is more profitable, higher margin, and then you've got a segment that's lower, less profitable, and a lower margin. Are most companies focused more on trying to fix the low margin stuff, or are they actually lean towards maximize the high margin stuff and maybe even cut your losses or stop offering the product where it is low margin? Like, I guess, yeah, again, that's maybe the way I'm trying to say it is like, if there's a trend, maybe is what I should be clear on. Are most companies trying to fix where there is low margin and make a higher margin on that segment, or are they just looking to maximize the snot out of a high margin segment?
I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. Like if you've already got a high margin segment, like, and it depends on your share of wallet. If you've got 100% share of wallet, like that you're kind of tapped out. Obviously, if you've got 20% share of wallet or share of their business, there's opportunity and you need to identify that. And that could be they move to a lower margin as you navigate getting more of their business. I think like that's often I think the challenge with segmentation is like you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right? Like the customers aren't going to fall where you want them to be. These are ideal, but not everybody sits there. Right? Like not everybody has unlimited budget. And sometimes like that margin, like I think about, if you're selling paper towel or toilet paper to McDonald's,
sure,
versus, Cadillac Fairview, like, right, like the mall, they care about different things.
Yep, absolutely.
McDonald's probably is a lower margin product but it's a volume product.
Absolutely.
Right. So like then that's where other things come in. It's like maybe we're selling, it's a lower margin, but like, man, we make a ton of money like in general off of them. Like maybe you don't want to change that. And I think that's where it starts like coming into those customers. But just because they're lower margin doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad customer, unless there's another problem, right? If they're really low share of wallet, okay, then there's opportunity to grow that, and maybe it is to grow it into a higher margin. But if we've got 80% of their share of wallet and we've got, they're on a lower margin side, like that could be very intentional. Maybe they are buying that economy brand or whatever it is, but like we've got, $100 million worth of business with them.
What, like, if you're only looking at the data, what you're going to miss is and you're only looking at margin as like a percentage or something like that, you are going to miss the fact that that might actually, in margin dollars, might make up a significant portion of your actual revenue, right? And this is where you need to, step back and see the whole picture to understand and kind of decide, again, the direction of your company is like, okay, even if this is a low margin product in terms of the money we spend to buy it and then the money we make when we sell it, but we make boatloads of it and we move tons and tons of it, that might be a good direction to go with your brand. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? There's a reason, like there's kind of space in the market for probably both of those things, as long as you kind of play your cards right. And again, you've segmented and you understand the motivations of your customer base and what you actually want to accomplish there. And I know that some companies will try to kind of maybe straddle the line a bit, where they will have some like high margin products where maybe they don't sell as many, but when they do, it's like ka-ching, big profit. But then balance that with these, more frequent, lower margin services, products, whatever, that kind of help balance that and correct for some of that volatility, right?
Yeah.
So a great example was when I was a wedding photographer. That was a low volume but high margin sale that I would make, right? Every single one of those clients that I would get in a year significantly impacted my bottom line for the year. And so when things like COVID hit and I don't have tons and tons of low margin but high volume work, that punished me in different ways, right? And so COVID was a really not fun time for most people to go through. But as a wedding photographer, I remember, and to a degree, it's true. Like I remember long before COVID, people in the wedding industry would say, well, the weddings are kind of recession proof because no matter what happens, people are still going to get married. And while that's true, it was not true that they were going to spend tens of thousands of dollars to do so, and that, a percentage of that was going to go to me as their wedding photographer. So I experienced some of that volatility firsthand, but I just find it, an important kind of distinction, I guess, to make, is that just because your product, your service, whatever, is a low margin, if you're comfortable with that and that suits the segment that you have and so on and so forth, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad business move and that you should try to be steering away from that, right?
No. Well, and you hit that on the head, right? Like, does your business want to go that way?
Yep.
Like we had a client and like that was part of the conversation. Do you want to play in the low, like in this case, like the economical brand? Like, do you want to play, or do you want to be the premium in the market? And that's a decision that you have to make. Like you have to run, like we didn't run the numbers for them. That's an internal decision. But like, that's a question. Like is that, where do you want to take your company? Will that help you hit the margins or the market share, whatever it is that you want to grow? Like, do you need to keep that? Like, can you afford to lose that? Or is that 60% of your business and you're like, we're going to abandon that? And now it's like, okay, now we're kind of shot ourselves in the foot.